everyone, welcome back to the XSP Green Monster channel. My name is Riley and this channel is all about my 1997 Chevrolet Suburban with a C-pillar wall with two DC level 5 18s, and what I do to the truck, kind of tips, tricks, and thoughts about car audio, and also some installation videos of just general mechanic style stuff. So today I want to kind of go over some of the things that are more related to a bigger car audio system, and by bigger I'm just going to go with like 5,000 plus watts, and specifically also the walled systems. So similar to mine, where if you haven't heard of walled system, it's where you basically wall off the vehicle straight up and down. I'll put up a quick picture of my system here just so you have a reference of what a walled system looks like if you haven't heard about it, and just kind of some things that I would recommend doing if you're thinking about going to a wall, and some other just things to expect when you're going to a wall, especially if you're daily driving like mine, because I daily drive my Suburban. So and by daily I mean I drive it to work every day. I go on road trips with it home when I need to from college, so it gets driven a good amount. I'd say put about 10 to 20,000 miles on it a year, which isn't a ton, but it gets around at least. So first I wanted to say that if you have any video that you would like to see, please leave it down in the comments below. Anything, any questions that you have about car audio, just ask them in the comments below, and I will do I'll try and do an entire video on that question. So please leave some down in the comments below. I'd really appreciate it. Next, or if there's anything that you feel like car audio beginners or car audio experts, any good information you have, and I'll try and compile it into one video and restate it, or do some research on it myself and see what I find, and then do a video on it. And then also I have some exciting news. So my sponsorship with FCK light bars officially went through. All the paperwork is done, and I'm officially on the FCK light bar team, so to say, working with them, which I'm very excited about. And that also means that I have a promo code. So if you guys would like any of the FCK light bars, beautiful products like this dual purpose curved 50-inch light bar, then go on FCK's website and use the code GRNMONSTER, as in green monster, but green is shortened to GRNMONSTER, to get 15% off anything that you want on the website. I believe it covers everything. I tested out with a couple of products and it worked. So yeah, go out to that. It supports me a little bit. I'm not getting any commission from it, but it does help support me and my sponsorship with them. So if you are looking for new light bars, this is a good way to get a really good deal on a light bar and help support me a little bit with FCK. I know most of my Instagram followers are pretty loyal followers, and I know that you guys like to support me, and I like to support you guys in answering any questions you guys have and posting content for you guys, so I would appreciate it. Obviously, if you're not looking to buy any light bars, don't feel the need to do so, but if you're looking at buying a light bar anyways, check them out. There's some really good products they have, and they have everything from the more entry-level series to the higher end stuff like the dual purpose chase and their 4D optic ones, which are all insanely bright. These dual purpose are extremely bright because it's a quad row LED with massive floods on the ends of it, so they do a really good job. And I've noticed that the light is extremely clear out of that light bar compared to my current 50-inch curved, which I'm still looking to sell. So if you're interested in a 50-inch curved light bar, let me know. I'm selling it for probably like $150 shipped. It's not a super cheap eBay one. It was a cheaper one, but it's not crazy cheap, 50. So yeah, now let's get on the video. So things that I would suggest if you're gonna wall your vehicle. The first is to give it some time. With walled vehicles, you really want to spend a lot of time doing it because you don't want to do it wrong. You want to make sure that everything is sealed properly, that the edges are cut properly. It's very important that you get a seal on a walled vehicle around the baffles or however you choose to seal it. So I'd say that's very important, is to just take your time with it. Expect it to be maybe a month or a couple month build, depending on how big of a build you're planning on doing. Like if you're not doing on a big like 612s, sixth order, that could take a really long time to do that build. I have friends that took a year to do their build. I did mine a little bit faster. I think I did it in around a month and a half, which I wish I had taken a little bit more time, but I was on time crunch because of school and I didn't have as much of an option to take more time that I would have liked. But yeah, so first, number one is to take your time on walling your vehicle. The second is, if you're doing a flat wall, treat it as a normal poured box. If you're doing a fourth order wall, do your research. If you're doing a sixth order wall, do your research. Fourth orders and sixth orders are very touchy boxes. Fourth order is a little bit less so than a sixth order, but sixth orders especially are extremely touchy boxes. And if you're gonna build it so that you can change it. Build it so you can adjust port dimensions. Build it so you can adjust rear port and front port, sub orientation, everything like that. You do not want to build it so you can't adjust it a little bit, because anyone I've seen with six orders, it's a lot of, you build it and then you adjust port sizes and you meter a lot and you are testing the box almost constantly because they are so touchy, and you really have to find what your car likes and what the subs like and what the box itself likes, because it's going to depend on box drives, flexing in the box, stuff like that. So give yourself a lot of options with it. Try and do removable front ports, try and do removable rear ports and adjustable rear ports. So yeah, second one is obviously take your time and try and build it so it's easily customizable. Third, I'm gonna say, since most of them use spray foam, you can definitely get away with building a wall without spray foam, but I feel like spray foam is a really good thing to use on these walls because it's a good way to just fill up space and just deaden things really quickly without a ton of work and without drilling especially. But lay down like plastic wrap, or you could probably even get away with using Plasti Dip and spray painting the surface that you're going to lay it down on, but treat the surface with something so if you ever decide to remove the wall, you could just peel up the plastic wrap or the Plasti Dip, but you can really easily peel off all the spray foam because spray foam sticks very well, and you honestly might have to go to something like a razor or a grinder to get off all the spray foam entirely. So if you're gonna do it, make sure to prep the surface with something that insulates the surface from the spray foam so the spray foam isn't sticking directly to your vehicle. I didn't do that on my vehicle, and I really wish I did, because I know if I ever want to tear out my wall, it is going to be a big struggle to be able to do that, because spray foam is just gnarly to remove. So make sure to do that. Great stuff is the spray foam that I'm talking about. Yeah, prep the surface for sure. You could just lay down saran wrap wherever the spray foam's gonna go, and then just clean up the edges afterwards so you can't see it, but that will protect the surface very well from the spray foam actually getting stuck to the surface, especially if you have a really nice car, like a newer car, and you're trying to wall it. That'll be really important just to keep everything looking nice, especially if it ever need to be removed for any reason. Let's see. So spray foam. Also, my wall is not actually drilled. There's no screws holding my wall to the body of the vehicle. I know for some people that's a little scary because the wall could shift. And I firmly believe that as long as you do it right, the wall is not going to shift in any way. So what I would suggest using is PL8X or I used something else. It wasn't PL8X, but I went to the lumber yard and I just asked. I just looked for advice. I was like, what is the strongest bond for wood to unprepped metal? What unprepped being it's not bare metal, because I didn't want to grind off all the paint on the inside body of my vehicle, so I just wanted to go on top of paint. And I got something that was just it's a very strong and a very hard solvent, or a very hard caulk, to go and seal the edges, at least that were touching the metal. And then along the windows, I obviously didn't use that, I just used spray foam along the windows. So I would say do your research and find what you want to use. PL8X is always a very good option for caulk, and that a lot of people use, and it holds really well, and that's all my wall is held in with. So my wall is not actually fastened to the body of the car. in any way besides the spray foam and the PLAX. And spray foam, like I said, holds really well. So I mean, I think the spray foam itself, with everywhere it is on my vehicle, would probably hold the wall in place. But you really want to seal those edges. Some of the best things to seal those edges is some gasketing, like car door gasketing, stuff like that. I think it's like the RV gasket, something, I can't remember the exact name of the gasket, but accordion boot gasket. Use that, and you can put it around the edge of your wall and then seal the baffle in at least. I really like the way that Ray Pimley and those guys do their walls, which is you seal the wall before the baffle, so the baffles don't actually have to seal. He uses a lot of screws, and they're much more permanent fixtures, so that's kind of a different route to go. If you're ever planning to sell the vehicle, I would definitely highly recommend thinking about making the wall easily removable and with as little screws into the body as possible. Unless you are a talented welder and feel comfortable filling all those holes in afterwards. Which can be hard on body panels because usually they're double layer body panels and you can't actually see the back of them, and you could run into oxidizing issues. But yeah, just think about that if you're building a wall. The next thing I was going to say is make it easily changeable. So a lot of things, you watch people and there's videos of them beating out their walls with sledgehammers, using sawzalls, cutting out chunks, doing all sorts of crazy stuff to their walls to try and remove them. If you can, make your wall, make at least the shell permanent, and then make everything that's going inside the shell kind of removable, or at least more easily removable so it doesn't require heavy machinery. You're gonna thank yourself later for that if you do it, because I know that eventually I want to go to like a 4th order or a 6th order in the truck, most likely, even if it's just with those 218s, and I'm gonna have to take something big to my baffles, some sawzall or something, to get those out of the vehicle, and I'm not looking forward to doing that. But if you make it so you don't need to do that, and you can easily change out the configuration, or at least keep the outer shell and change out what's in the inside, then it could help you, because chances, obviously, if you know that it's gonna, like, it's where it's staying, you can make it more permanent. But don't expect the first one you put in there to be the permanent fixture in there. I mean, especially with base, you're going to be changing up that configuration probably once every couple of years at least, just because, I mean, times are changing, more information comes out. You know, you hear 6th order you really like, so you want to go to the 6th, or you hear flat wall and you want to try flat wall. Especially if you're numbers chasing, if you're an SPL guy, then you definitely are going to want a very, very easily changeable shell, so you can remove the innards and rebuild for different subs or different platforms or different band passes. So I would think about that while you're making it. That's kind of the tips I have. I haven't noticed, I don't have many other things I'd say besides that when you're doing it, besides just do a lot of research, take your time, try and make it easily customizable, changeable, but other than that, not too much. Now I'm going to go into very briefly what to expect if you're going to daily drive a wall. So visibility obviously is the first thing, and I haven't got a backup camera yet, but if you have the funds for it, I would highly suggest installing a backup camera so you can see behind your vehicle a little bit better, because visibility obviously when you have a wall is very low, and it doesn't bother me too much. Even backing up my truck, I can back up pretty well without backup camera. I just have to look out the window or kind of crack my door and look back, just to really be able to see. But backup cameras can make it much more useful. And on the interstates is where I really notice the biggest difference with it, because I'm losing most of my blind spot. So when I have to change lanes on the interstate or anything, I have to use my rear view mirrors, which means I give it a lot of time. I make sure I have a lot of distance between me and the car behind me when I want to change over lanes, because I don't have as good of a perspective of where that car is in relationship to my car. So that's one thing to think about. Another thing is weight. Walls are a lot of weight. It's a lot of weight in wood. Generally, if you're going to a wall, you have a pretty good amount of power going to it. Not a lot of people wall on like 1,000 watts, but you could do it. But yeah, if you're going to go that route, expect a lot of weight. Expect to possibly have to upgrade your springs in the rear or shocks. Most likely gonna have to upgrade those. Expect possible transmission issues, because you're just going to be putting a lot of weight and strain. Expect possible ball joint issues. Expect a lot of issues to arise from your drivetrain if you're going to wall vehicle, especially if it's a vehicle that's not meant to have a lot of weight in it and you're putting in a lot of weight. So something like in some small SUV that just, it's not really meant to tow. It can tow, but it's not really meant to. It just doesn't have large amounts of shocks. When you're getting into like SUVs and Astro vans and stuff like that, they're all kind of meant to carry a lot of weight. But like if you're going like a Honda Accord and you're putting in 2 DC level 618s, I mean, that's just going to be rough on the transmission and on the ball joints and on the drive line of the vehicle, because you could be adding up to around a ton in weight to it. Literally a ton. So around 2,000 pounds. I know I added about 1,840 pounds to mine. So I gotta keep that in mind for sure. And then it's just, I mean, it's a lot of fun. It gets kind of obnoxious having the wall, because you lose a lot of space. You lose a lot of storage space. Seeing out of the back gets to me sometimes. There's sometimes when I'm driving the truck and I just really wish I could see out the back of it. But that's all right. Yeah, you just lose a lot of space. With my Suburban, I was lucky because I could just throw a massive safari rack on the top, and then I still have a ton of extra storage space up there, and I have a liner that can go over the safari rack that makes it waterproof. So there are kind of ways you can get around it, but in smaller cars it could be a little bit more difficult. And you're going to lose a lot more of your blind spot in smaller cars, especially if you're going to go with a B-pillar wall. A B-pillar wall would be much harder daily than my C-pillar wall, because I do still have some of my blind spots since I can see out the rear windows. The rear passenger windows. So just expect having a wall in your vehicle to be rough on the car and on you. Expect it to make it a little bit more difficult driving. You're obviously going to lose MPG, so you're going to get worse MPG. You're going to be paying more in gas. I'm getting around 13.8 to 14 miles to the gallon right now, but I also have tuned PCM, I have air intake, I have a full exhaust, brand new injectors, brand new spark plugs, brand new spark plug wires, upgraded all of those. So upgrade injectors, upgrade spark plug wires. So I've done as much to my truck as I possibly can to improve my fuel economy, especially given the weight that I have. So you definitely expect a loss in fuel economy. Yeah, so I think that's about all I have. There might be something I missed. I know I have a couple people that watch. I know Jeremy Mudd watches some of my videos, and some other big car audio people that have walls, I think, watch these videos. So if there's anything that you guys think I missed in this about having wall, or any extra information, just drop it down in the comments so anyone reading these can see it. That's just kind of my experience with walls that I've noticed, and some of those things, like the tips and tricks that I shared, could be a little partial to my opinion, just based on the experience that I've had with it. I know a lot of other people do wall their vehicles differently than I walled mine. So there are a couple different ways to do it, but yeah. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I'll kind of give a quick overview of what we have. So we're gonna have video coming up, the explanation of why my sub blew. And then I'm going to do a video about shrinking the box, because that will the explanation of why my sub blew will explain why I'm going to shrink my box. And most people will be able to guess why, but I figured out some interesting things. While I had my sub out. So changing up a few things. Again, it's going to be a while before I get that sub reconed. I just don't have the income of money right now to pay for that recone. So yeah, I am going to be going with stock recone, and I'll explain that in that video as well. Yeah, video shrinking box, just probably some general wiring videos as well coming up. So yeah, look forward to that stuff. Again, let me know if there are any videos that you guys would like to see down in the comments below. I will answer any questions you guys have and do my absolute best to make a full video on them if I can. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe. Please give it a big thumbs up, and I'll see you guys in the next one.